Back in 84, 85 is when it first started with Bob Brown and Bill Smith. Bill was a minister here in Taft, and Bob was the owner of Frozen Mug. And they had got together, and Bill told them a lot of people come in and are hungry. And he said, just send them down to me, I'll give them a hamburger, you know. That's why it started. Then they realized that it needed more than just one meal, you know. They were hungry for a long time, you know. They needed help.
Bob and I began our friendship at First Assembly of God Church. We were attending church together, and I found myself in a spot that I thought I needed to work, and he thought that I'd be a pretty good employee. At that time, Bob started serving people that he knew were simply hungry out of the back door of this Frozen Mug restaurant. Frozen Mug was a fast food restaurant. He inherited that from his mom and dad, and that was then the A&W.
But it started off as a A&W years ago, and then when A&W were cutting back, I guess the Brown family owned it then even. Bob switched it over to Frozen Mug, and it was Frozen Mug for, gosh, I don't know, several years.
So it was really much the same as an A&W. We had number 1, number 2, number 3 meals. It all included a burger and fries according to your appetite.
Yeah, the baby burger was for like the smallest burger, and then the mama burger was the next size up, and the papa burger.
So Bob began serving out of his business, literally in the back door of his business, when he would see homeless people or those in need and hungry. And also at Thanksgiving, that's when he would put out the request for, do you want to donate turkeys? Do you want to donate cranberry sauce? Thanksgiving, all of the traditional things that you would have, which has been followed throughout the years. They came up with the name Labors of the Harvest sometime in the 1980s. It was incorporated as a 503B, and Bob and Bill, because they were strong men of faith, chose that name from the Bible. Matthew 9:37, the harvest is plentiful.
It took 3 things that we had to have to run this place down here. Lots of volunteers, good donors, and the Lord. And the most important was the Lord, you know, and lots of prayers went in for this place down here.
I was a volunteer at Labors of the Harvest for over 20 years. My husband and I both were. I started out just myself volunteering, and they were up on Kern Street. My job basically the whole time was gathering up the food and putting them in the baskets to distribute. And then when my husband got involved, we started picking up food at Albertsons.
There was no government commodities at that time. They would literally glean from whatever local merchants were willing to give, and then they would put baskets together and food and feed the community.
They got incorporated in 1986 and moved into the building on Kern Street.
It had like 3 very small rooms, and we worked out of the back room, which would have been a kitchen probably.
I started working, helping out, going to Bakersfield with my brother-in-law. My father-in-law was running the labors at that time, Sam White. He would go to Bakersfield every Saturday and pick up food, so we tried to take some of the load off of him, and we just kept doing it for the next 40 years.
I really was not aware that there was that big of a need when I first got involved with it.
When I first got involved in it and helped distribute food and all that, we was probably maybe 20 families a day. We moved down here and started expanding, got more room. The number started really going up in a hurry. We got to where we were serving usually around 100 to 120 a day, 4,000 or 5,000 a month. In 2002 or 3, I took over presidency of the laborers. One thing was we're all getting old that was volunteering down here. We're all getting older and health problems we had.
We were all getting so much older and tired. We didn't have the energy.
Shari come along and was willing to do it. At first I thought, there ain't no way. She's just busy enough with what she's doing. And after working with her for about a year or so, I thought her heart's in the right place. And that's why I decided to turn it over to them when we did. It's just an opportune time to do it.
I've known Shari since she was in high school. She was in high school with my daughter. And so I've known Shari for quite a while. I hadn't seen her for many years. But I really, really felt that Shari really had a heart for this.
Officially, I became the executive director of Laborers of the Harvest October 1st, 2019. And so that was official by my predecessors, and they all voted me in as the executive director and president of the board. And then they passed all the keys over. So they were ready to retire, and they deserve it because they put in a lot of them, 30 plus years. I am also the executive director of another nonprofit organization called Shar-On Corporation. And that is where a group of collective, mainly homeless, all come together, and we've created many, many programs.
She still had energy and abundance to keep going, and she just really had a heart for all the people.
She refers to them as her family, the collective. She's experienced being homeless herself. So who better would you want to be in charge of a corporation that is meeting the needs and serving the homeless?
We were offering free meals every single night, and part of the meals was gleaning at our local Albertsons in Taft. And through that's how I met Laborers of the Harvest, because they were really officially gleaning under Feeding America. I just decided I was going to start volunteering here at Laborers of the Harvest because I figure, they're doing great things, we're doing great things, and let's just come together. Our team Doing Good for Nothing started showing up, and they were cleaning outside and cleaning up the grounds and stuff and giving. They had been looking to pass the baton over to an organization. And the thing is that nobody else was really kind of stepping up. However, we kept showing up. They decided to go on vacation, all of them, all at the same time, and they said, how about you guys run the show and see how you do? They came back, and they just really felt that it was just time to pass the baton over. We were the only group that really showed up, loved this whole entire legacy that they started, because it's huge what they have done. And so it was quite an honor that they gave that to us and trusted us so much. Once COVID started, everything changed. We were one of 3 food banks that were open. We connected with Cap K, in which we were already part of Feeding America and Cap K, and they have been amazing. Golden Empire Gleaners, Albertsons, of course. So we still had food, and we had hungry people, and now we had to figure out how we were going to disperse it. So our whole operation completely changed. And now this is the warehouse for all of our foods and commodities. And then over at Shar-On, that's where we give out fresh foods. We give out the meals.
She definitely is doing a good job right now of feeding everybody and making sure that they, the ones that can't cook and everything. And then the ones that can cook, she's providing the food for them.
Before I became the executive director, we were pulling in about 8,000 pounds of food per month. Now we're between 60 and 80,000 pounds of food per month. And we are feeding over 8,000 people per month. And that's within a 40-mile radius, not just here in Taft.
This is what humanity should do for humanity. We need to serve each other, especially those in need. And if we're blessed, then it's our responsibility to give back to the community so that they could rise up and be blessed and serve.
And the plan from here on is we'll keep growing as long as the food keeps showing up, and as long as we're meant to. Like I said, the more we give, the more we get to give.